So, the Connors is starting tonight. That's exciting, right? Right? To me, it's exciting in the same way that it's exciting to see your great-grandma at the nursing home. It's comforting to see her, but she's just not the same anymore. And yeah, I think even the advertising knows that. The Connors either has such a good product that they don't feel the need to advertise it fully, or they know the hype could carry them through the next 10 episodes they've ordered, or they don't really have a very great product. So it's exciting, right? Right? So, I'm coming to you from my parents' garage right now, and let me explain. I am staying here right now because it's fall in Indiana, and it is randomly, all of a sudden, cold. I'm in a brand new house, and I thought that my heat was electric. It's gas. So, while I'm waiting for the gas company to come turn on my heat, I'm staying here, and my parents are asleep upstairs, so we probably don't want to wake them up. But the Connors is starting on Tuesday, so I wanted to get this released before the Connors starts. Let's cross our fingers and hope that I can get that done. Here's hoping. I don't know if you'll remember this, but a couple months ago I released a video that came out pretty in favor of Roseanne, although I did call her batcrap crazy. I was amazed that the Roseanne reboot could do such gangbuster numbers, and for real, ABC was incredibly stupid to cancel it.
Daily Mail TV spoke to a senior ABC executive who said that they feel that the decision was too much of a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe Roseanne should not have been fired so quickly. Should have done a full investigation, should have seen how the public felt.
The big fear? The Connors will be a ratings disaster without Roseanne.
That said, it is refreshing to see a network choose morals over money. But let's talk about that giant laughing elephant in the room. I have been wanting to do a follow-up video to my first "What Can We Learn from Roseanne" post, ever since Roseanne was summarily canceled. I think first I had to go through all the stages of grief, but I'd been uncertain about what to post or what to say. Obviously, that video needed an update, but what should it look like? The deciding factor was actually while I was watching Jimmy Kimmel Live. John Goodman came on to prep the show, and there were some questions that Goodman clearly knew were coming about Roseanne.
At the end of last season, she goes out to the liquor store to fill her vape pen. And she hasn't been back yet.
He shrugged them off and made a joke or two, but you could see and hear the sadness in his voice, and it's especially sad when you hear him refer to Roseanne as Mom.
The same show will pick up, same set, all of that stuff?
Yeah, same family, minus Mom.
This is the case of a grieving husband. I'm not inferring any infidelity here, but these two genuinely cared for each other.
I just crashed for a couple of weeks.
And to see Goodman fielding soft lobs at Roseanne without her ability to flip off the accuser,
40 seconds, right?
just seems sad. Now, this video is not really to come to the defense of Roseanne herself. ABC had every right to cut her loose when they did. No, it's not to defend, but to process. She was the first matriarchal family leader that we had seen on television.
I was having my first period.
I was too young to understand that, or even to care at the time, but as I watched reruns in my college years, I came to have a deep appreciation for her, even when I disagreed. In fact, my own disagreements with Roseanne were the reason I really watched. I rarely ever agreed with Roseanne's conclusions, but I always sympathized with the method of thought that got her there. Now, let's talk about Roseanne being a racist. I'm tired of seeing that term bandied about toward Roseanne as if it's a mere fact that she is now wearing a swastika and attending white supremacy rallies. Yes, Roseanne is a conspiracy theorist, always has been. You know what one of her crazy conspiracy theories was in the 90s? That powerful men often abused women sexually, especially in the entertainment field. Well, it's not like that was proved true or anything. But you know who didn't like it that she would say that? White, conservative, powerful men in the entertainment industry. So I'd think twice before simply saying that none of her conspiracy theories have any validity. Time will tell, and she has dealt with some mental issues, so I'm not summarily believing all of her claims either. However, to call Roseanne flat out a racist is to ignore all the other things that she has ever done except for the one comment that she tweeted past midnight one night. And don't pretend you want to be held accountable for everything you've ever said past midnight. She taught a lot of lessons through her show about income inequality, political grandstanding, women's safety issues, gay rights, and yes, racism. But those things don't necessarily mean that Roseanne is not a racist today. So let's talk about that. When I first found out about the cancellation of Roseanne, my first thought was, oh no, what did she do? And I looked it up. My first thought was, don't compare people to monkeys. I had no thought toward race at all because I was never introduced to African American people being called monkeys. I'm glad that I was never taught this kind of racial slur or had never heard it in any kind of casual conversation, whether with a white person or with a black person. However, I still thought it was a horrible thing and was very taken aback by it. By the time I realized how that racial slur actually affected people and what its history in America was, although I'm sure I still don't know everything, I started to get very angry toward Roseanne for having said such a thing. She was certainly part of a generation that would have known this term. Then she said she didn't think Valerie Jarrett was black. And you know what? I believe her. I wouldn't think she was black either. As a matter of fact, right away I put up both of their pictures, Valerie's and Roseanne's, right next to each other. And my first thought was, you both look very similar. If she's from the Planet of the Apes, so are you, Roseanne. But regardless of that, I believe that Roseanne wasn't making fun of Jarrett for being black. She was making fun of her for being a liberal. This statement wasn't racially motivated, again, per se, but it was politically motivated. Just for the record, I'm not sure that that really makes it any better. As I did some deep research by reading through the comments, as you do, I realized that there were some serious claims toward Jarrett. All of them were false, but still, they were serious claims. Roseanne, a Jewish woman, was not a fan of a woman who was either supposedly a Muslim or at least was a Muslim sympathizer. Of course, these things have been summarily shown to be false. The yearbook picture isn't even from 1977, and I'm pretty sure that Jarrett is actually Presbyterian, which may not mean a whole lot, but she's at least as Christian as 90% of Christians that go to church on Easter and Christmas. But nonetheless, there is a subset of people who believe that Jarrett is absolutely, positively for the creation and transition of American free religion into an Islamic state. So, Barr was not being racist against Valerie for being black. However, I may very easily be able to say that she was still being a racist. She was being racist against Valerie for being a Muslim, or at least supporting Muslim people. However, this, much to my own sadness, almost seems normal to me. It almost feels like I should excuse it because Jewish people and Muslims are supposed to fight, right? See, especially in Judeo-Christian thought, Jewish people are God's chosen people. They obviously don't believe in Christ in the same way that a conservative Christian like myself would, but we Christians share our foundation of faith with them. And at least for me, there's a lot of sympathy and even kinship to that Jewish people group. However, that has unintentionally meant that I have been more negative toward people of other Middle Eastern races and from other Middle Eastern countries. I try very hard not to exercise prejudice against any race, But I'm always finding blind spots in myself, as I think we all are. And this is definitely one of those blind spots. Just because I believe that Jewish people do still hold a special place in God's heart doesn't mean that it's excused for anyone to say something disparagingly against anyone else. I don't think Roseanne was intentionally being racist, and I think she wanted to make fun of Valerie for her liberal policies. I mean, obviously, she is a comedian, but I think she truly doesn't like Jarrett because Jarrett is sympathetic toward Muslim people. And that is a form of racism. It may be a common form of racism. It may even be a form of racism that seems to be okay because it has a historical precedence. But it's still racism, and it's wrong. Roseanne could have made her statement in much more constructive ways. She could have written a fully fleshed out statement, or had at least one person proof her Twitter to look out for issues in what amounts to a very cheap joke that she made, costing her both her career and her show. That said, out of all people recently disgraced in Hollywood, I have the most admiration and sympathy for Roseanne. In this case, I truly believe Roseanne didn't have racism at the heart of what her Twitter was. I truly do believe that it wasn't intentional. Clearly, her past work and even the last episode of the Roseanne reboot shows that she has intentionally not wanted to be a racist.
It says insufficient funds. You're $30 short.
I didn't know.
Sorry. Maybe the American taxpayers forgot to fill it up last week.
Excuse me?
I'm an American taxpayer sometimes. Put it on my EBT card. Well, I saw something, and I'm going to say something to your manager. You are ignorant. That woman is twice the person you'll ever be, and she's dealing with a lot of stuff you don't even know about. So next time she comes in the store, you keep your damn mouth shut.
I believe Roseanne had a blind spot, but she also has the arrogance to not recognize that blind spot.
The whole truth is, I told him I wasn't going to tweet, and, you know, I promised him over and over. And although they never sent it in writing, which was required, but anyway, they called my publicist and unloaded on him all the time. And, you know, I should have stayed off Twitter. I did it to myself.
And ultimately, that's what lost her her job. She's not willing to listen, only to be listened to. I can say, just as Goodman has said, that Roseanne is not outright a racist. I can also echo Goodman that Roseanne has done a selfless thing by signing away the show so that quite a few people can continue to have their jobs.
You know, I made a mistake, and the ball kept rolling.
She does deserve credit where credit is due. So, did Roseanne say some awful things for which she deserves punishment? Absolutely. Will I miss her on the show? Completely. Do I think she's a horrible person? No, but she should burn her Twitter account. Did ABC have the right to fire her? Absolutely. Even regardless of the tweet, Roseanne is notoriously hard to work with. She's still batcrap crazy, and she still speaks her truth boldly. And we will move on from this tragedy of personal discretion. The Connors will begin, and we'll see what happens from there. I hope it's good. I really hope so. Even if Great Grandma isn't quite as sharp as she used to be, I still love her. I hope you enjoyed this content. I know that there is definitely some controversy in this, and I would be interested in reading any constructive thoughts on the topic in the comments. Please leave your thoughts forged in anger at home. But if you can add something to the conversation, I definitely want to hear from you. You have a great day, and I'll see you again next week.